We don't realize it most of the time, but our minds are constantly scripting the story of our lives, sometimes in our favor, sometimes against it. The moment you start acting as if everything always works out for you, you're not just hoping for a better outcome, you're rewriting that script. You're handing your mind a new blueprint, because, whether you're aware of it or not, your thoughts are shaping your reality. Every single day, your brain is scanning your environment for evidence that supports what you already believe. This is why two people can live through the same experience and interpret it completely differently. One sees a setback, the other sees a setup for something better. The difference, the story they're telling themselves in their mind. Think about it. When you believe that life is against you, your focus zeroes in on everything that goes wrong. You miss the open doors while staring at the ones that closed. But when you act as if life is for you, when you expect things to work out in your favor, you become more tuned into opportunity, to solution, to possibility. This doesn't mean you ignore the hard stuff. It means you approach it with a completely different energy, one that says, I may not know how, but I trust that this is leading somewhere good. That trust is powerful. It rewires your brain to filter information differently. Suddenly, you're not panicking at every delay or downturn. You're calm, curious, even hopeful. And here's the magic. When your internal state shifts, your external results often follow. People respond to your calm confidence. Situations seem to coincidentally resolve. You find the resource you didn't even know you needed. This isn't a fluke, this is alignment. Acting as if everything works out for you doesn't mean you pretend problems don't exist. It means you stop giving them the final say. You stop worshipping worry. You stop rehearsing failure in your head like it's the only outcome possible. Instead, you begin to lean into the mindset that even if things look uncertain right now, you are still on track, and that belief changes everything. Your mind is incredibly obedient. It will carry out whatever commands you consistently give it. So if you feed it fear, doubt, and worst-case scenarios, it will go to work making those things feel inevitable. But if you consistently feed it faith, optimism, and trust, it will start highlighting every reason why things might just be okay, or even better than okay. You're not lying to yourself by acting as if things are going to work out. You're choosing to believe in a future you haven't met yet, but that you're already preparing for. That belief is not weakness. That belief is creation. It's vision. It's courage. Because it takes strength to keep showing up with an open heart in a world that has tried to convince you to close it. So, the next time you're tempted to spiral, to brace for disaster, to catastrophize, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself your mind follows your lead. Give it the lead that says, I don't chase miracles, I expect them. Let that become your new baseline. Let that be the story you live from. Because once your mind starts to believe that things always work out for you, life starts to respond in kind. And that's when the shift begins. Confidence is one of those invisible forces that shapes everything: how people treat you, what doors open for you, even how life seems to unfold around you. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you're not just shifting your mindset. You're stepping into a frequency of confidence that radiates outward. It's not arrogance, it's not pretending, it's alignment with a future version of yourself who already knows how this story ends, and that version is calm, grounded, and self-assured. When you carry yourself like things are working in your favor, people notice. Energy speaks louder than words ever will. You've probably seen it before. Someone walks into a room, and without saying anything, they shift the energy. It's not always about what they're wearing or what they say. It's something deeper. It's how they hold themselves. It's the unshakable calm in their body language, like they're not trying to prove anything, not desperate for approval. That's what confidence rooted in inner certainty looks like. And the truth is, That kind of presence doesn't come from waiting for success. It comes from embodying the energy of success before it arrives. Most people live on the opposite end of that spectrum. They wait to feel confident after the relationship shows up, after the job offer, after the money lands in the bank. But that's not how energy works. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And if what you are, energetically, is anxious, unsure, and full of doubt, that's the signal you're sending out. Life tends to echo what we broadcast, but when you flip the script and act as if you already have the love, the opportunity, the peace, the freedom, you start showing up differently. You speak differently. You walk into the room differently. And slowly but surely, the world begins to reflect that back to you. That's not magic. That's alignment in action. That's you setting the tone instead of reacting to the noise. And here's something powerful. Confidence doesn't mean you know exactly how it's all going to play out. It just means you trust that you can handle it, that you'll figure it out, that you are safe even in the unknown. That kind of trust is magnetic. People are drawn to those who move through life like they belong here, like they're guided, like something bigger is always at work in their favor. Because deep down, we all want to believe that. And when someone lives from that belief, it inspires others to rise too. Acting as if doesn't mean faking it. It means feeling it before it physically arrives. It means putting on the energy like a well-fitted coat and saying, "This is who I choose to be." You show up early, you hold your head high. You take the risk, make the call, ask the question, not because the outcome is guaranteed, but because you're no longer letting fear sit in the driver's seat. You're moving from the energy of the version of you who already knows they're supported, already knows the universe is conspiring in their favor. When you embody that version of yourself consistently, life doesn't just respond, it rearranges, because confidence isn't just a personal trait. It's a spiritual declaration. It's saying to life, I trust you, I trust myself, and I trust that what's meant for me will never miss me. And that's the energy that changes everything. There's something almost mystical about expectation. It's not just a passive hope. It's a quiet, powerful command to life that says, I'm ready. The energy of expectation carries weight. When you expect something to work out, your entire internal world begins organizing around that belief, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. You start preparing for the outcome before there's any physical proof of it. And that preparation, that internal alignment, is what sets the stage for manifestation. Most people don't realize they're constantly preparing for failure. They rehearse disappointment before anything even goes wrong. They imagine the worst-case scenario, not because it's likely, but because they think it'll protect them. But what it really does is trap them in a loop of fear and hesitation. When you act as if things are always working out for you, you're doing the opposite. You're preparing for things to go right. You're training your nervous system to feel safe with success, and that changes everything. Expectation isn't about forcing outcomes or pretending you're in control of every detail. It's about stepping into a mindset where your default belief is that life supports you, that even the delays are divine, that what doesn't show up isn't a rejection, but a redirection. When you begin to live with that level of faith, your decisions become bolder, your energy becomes calmer, and your presence becomes more grounded. You stop needing to manipulate or chase, because you're already aligned with the outcome you desire. Think about how athletes prepare for a championship game. They visualize the win before they step on the field. They see the play, feel the emotion, imagine the outcome over and over until their body and mind believe it's already theirs. That's not fantasy, that's focused preparation rooted in expectation. It's the same in everyday life. When you expect good things, you act like someone who's already halfway there. You show up prepared. You're not waiting to be convinced. You're confirming what you already believe. And people can feel that energy. Life can feel it too, because the universe doesn't just respond to need. It responds to alignment. And expectation is one of the highest forms of alignment you can live in. It says, I'm not desperate for this, I'm ready for it. I've cleared the space for it. I've tuned my energy to match it. That's when doors start to open that were never even visible before. That's when you meet the right person at the exact right time. That's when things seem to fall into place, not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. It's not about blind optimism. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about having the inner resolve to believe that even in the unknown, something is working in your favor. You expect the lesson, the growth, the clarity, even if it arrives disguised as a challenge. You trust that whatever comes, it's bringing you closer to what you've asked for, even if it doesn't look like it at first. That level of trust, that steady expectation, becomes a powerful declaration. I don't need to see it to believe it. I believe it, so now I'll start to see it. And when you carry that energy quietly, consistently, life has no choice but to meet you there. One of the most overlooked parts of transformation is emotion, not just the fleeting highs, but the deep, resonant feelings that anchor you into your vision. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you're not just thinking differently, you're feeling differently. And that feeling is the engine, because the truth is, you don't manifest what you say you want. You manifest what you emotionally align with. What you feel to be true on a regular basis is what you naturally begin to attract, prepare for, and create space for. That's why emotion is so powerful. It's the language of the subconscious, and the subconscious is what runs most of your life. If you want to change your outcomes, you have to shift what you feel to be normal, safe, and expected. So when you choose to feel peace even when there's chaos, when you choose to feel gratitude even before the blessing arrives, you're not being unrealistic. You're tuning your emotional state to match the outcome you want. You're telling your nervous system, this is what we expect now. This is what we're used to. And over time, that expectation becomes your baseline. Most people wait until something good happens before they allow themselves to feel good. But in doing that, they miss out on one of the most powerful tools they have, emotional rehearsal. Just like you can physically practice something until it becomes muscle memory, you can emotionally rehearse the state of being you want to live in. If you want to be someone who feels calm, supported, and free, you have to start feeling that before your circumstances reflect it. You create the emotion first, the external validation comes later. And the beautiful thing is, your body doesn't always know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you fully feel the joy, the relief, the certainty of it's already working out, your body responds as if that's your current reality. Your stress levels drop, your focus sharpens, your decisions become clearer, and without even realizing it, you start showing up in ways that support the very outcome you're trying to attract. This is why acting as if is so much deeper than a mindset trick. It's an emotional commitment. It's choosing to live from the end, not waiting to be happy if things work out, but allowing yourself to feel the emotional safety of already done. And that feeling gives you resilience. It gives you grace. It keeps you grounded when things take longer than expected, because you're no longer chasing the feeling, you've already claimed it. And that shift is magnetic. When you live in the emotional space of faith, of trust, of gratitude before the evidence shows up, you become a match to what you want. You stop repelling it with doubt and start attracting it with alignment. The emotion leads to motion. You take different actions when you feel different inside. You speak with more clarity. You take braver steps. You don't shrink from setbacks because you've already decided they're temporary. That inner state becomes your compass, not your circumstances. So don't underestimate the power of feeling it before it's real. That's not fantasy. That's creation in its purest form. Because when you start feeling like it's already working out for you, it usually does. The truth is, your reality doesn't just change because you think differently. It changes when you act differently. You can have all the vision boards, affirmations, and inspiring quotes in the world, but if your behavior stays the same, your life stays the same. That's where the power of acting as if everything always works out for you becomes real. In your daily rituals, your small decisions, your consistent choices. When you begin to behave like someone who trusts life, who expects success, who moves with certainty, that behavior starts to reshape your beliefs. It teaches your nervous system a new rhythm. It trains your mind to follow a new path. Most of us try to think our way into a new life. But it's the doing, especially the small, intentional, daily doing, that builds the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. When you act as if you're already supported, you stop hesitating on decisions. You trust your gut more. You stop replaying worst-case scenarios and start showing up like someone who knows they can handle whatever happens next. That behavior becomes a pattern, and patterns become your identity. That's the key shift. You're no longer trying to become something. You're embodying it now, even in the smallest ways. You walk into rooms with a different energy. You speak with more clarity. You follow up, you invest in yourself. You rest when needed without guilt because deep down, you've decided you're worth the outcome you're moving toward. And you're not waiting for life to prove it. You're proving it to yourself with every action you take. This isn't about pretending. It's not about faking confidence or lying to yourself. It's about aligning your habits with the version of you who already knows that everything works out. That version of you doesn't procrastinate out of fear. That version of you doesn't shrink to stay safe. That version of you knows that showing up fully is never wasted energy, even if the reward isn't immediate. So when you start living from that identity, even before the results appear, something powerful happens. The results begin to shift. You begin to feel more grounded, more steady. You stop second-guessing every step because now you're not depending on instant proof. You're building momentum. That's the beautiful thing about behavior. It creates evidence, and the more evidence you create, the more your brain believes it. The more your brain believes it, the easier it becomes to keep acting that way. It becomes less of a conscious effort and more of a natural flow. Eventually, the rituals that once felt like a stretch become second nature. The confidence that felt like a performance becomes your baseline. You're not trying to keep up with a new identity, you are it. Not because something external happened, but because you showed up every day like someone who trusted the process. Like someone who believed in their own energy. Like someone who knew that alignment isn't found in giant leaps. It's built in the quiet consistency of your choices. So, if you want to live in a world where things work out for you, start living as that person now. Let your behavior become the proof before the outcome shows up. Because every time you act in alignment with that belief, you're building a life that reflects it back. And that's when your identity stops being a hope and starts becoming your reality. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you don't just change your thoughts or behaviors, you change the energy you carry into the world. And energy is everything. It's the silent force behind every connection, every opportunity, every seemingly random moment of alignment. People can feel it, life can feel it, and what you radiate becomes the invitation for what shows up in your life. That's why it's not just about what you do, it's about the energy behind what you do. You've probably noticed this already. There's a difference between someone who moves through life with resistance and someone who moves through it with flow. The person radiating trust, ease, and certainty doesn't need to say much. Their energy speaks first. And that energy tends to pull the right people, the right conversations, the right timing into their orbit. It's not because they're lucky, it's because they're aligned. They've chosen to embody the belief that things are working out, and that belief becomes a vibration. And here's the part we often forget. Energy is contagious. You set the tone of every room you walk into. You influence your environment just by being in it. So when your energy says, "I expect peace," or "I expect favor," or "I expect alignment," the world around you starts to meet that expectation. Not always instantly, not always in the form you imagined, but consistently. When your energy becomes a steady signal, life reflects it back. This is why protecting your energy is essential, because it's not just about keeping out negativity, it's about preserving the frequency you've worked so hard to build. If you've chosen to live from the belief that everything works out for you, then your job becomes holding that energy even when it's challenged. Especially when it's challenged, because that's when it matters most. It's easy to feel aligned when things are going well. But true mastery is holding the energy of trust when you have every reason to doubt. That doesn't mean you never wobble. You're human. You'll have moments where fear creeps in, where uncertainty feels loud, where the vision blurs. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's return. The faster you return to your core belief, the more powerful your energy becomes. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the more it becomes your natural state, and eventually the energy of "I trust this process" becomes your default. This is where life really starts to respond, because when your energy is consistent, your path becomes clearer. You don't chase, you attract. You don't strive, you align. You don't push, you allow, and yet everything still gets done. Not from burnout or desperation, but from a grounded place of knowing. You're not trying to make life happen, you're allowing it to unfold, knowing that your energy has already made the request. That's what living as if everything works out for you really means. It's not just about what you think or what you say, it's about who you are energetically. When your energy says, "I'm open, I'm ready, I trust," the universe listens, people feel it, opportunities gravitate toward it. Life begins to bend in your favor, not because you forced it, but because you finally matched the frequency of what you've been asking for. And that's when you realize the energy you hold is the life you live.